Calumet Public School District 132 Board of Education Committee of the whole meeting, April 15th, 2024, 5:01.
Good evening, everybody. The meeting started at 5:30.
Roll call, John?
Yes, Brown, absent, Dixon, Golar, absent, Kimbrough, Love,
Here.
Story, Harris.
Yes, yes.
All right.
The pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Items of discussion.
Yeah. Yeah, let me go get it.
Items of discussion.
Me too.
Okay.
Policies, Press Plus, issue 113.
Here you go.
That's the mic. Yeah, that's the mic. If anybody doesn't see that. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad you all made it out. So, Press Plus policy number 113. There, you all should have this packet, passed it out before, it's in your board packet. So the way that the policies work essentially is that ISB, and through the attorneys of Illinois Association of School Boards, they recommend the changes based on current laws, changes to the laws, new statutes. And essentially it's customary for the district to go through it and then propose any additions and then adopt. There are 5 policies that ISB has requested or required the districts to make a response to. You all have these, but you can have another copy. Anybody else need a copy of the packet?
Is this it? This, oh no, this is. I don't think
You need one?
I need one, I guess.
All right.
I pulled the wrong thing.
Sure, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, Ms. Love, I'll grab you.
Yeah, I see a copy. I'm not doing the wrong thing.
Wait, oh, did I think I have.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
that's
you got
it.
it. You got it.
Okay. She had it too. Yeah.
I'm looking, it's public.
What's going on?
I said, I don't know if it's open.
It's open. It's open.
Oh, yeah.
He made you come over here, huh?
Yeah.
So, I guess my question to the board is that, do you all want to go through all of the policies or just the ones that we're required to respond to? So our presentation was just the 5, so that's all we have. All right, so some of these responses are very minimal, so we'll just go through it, and then I'll give you the administration's recommendation, and then we can discuss where the board lies. Board policy 5250, leave of absence. The only thing that we had to do was to identify how many employees we have, and based on the number of employees we have, that's the language that we adopt. So for us, our district would be 50 to 249 employees.
Okay.
Goodbye.
5, what's this, 5220? 5220.
You don't have nothing to do about
Or we just print them off the website then.
Let me see. I think it has a page number on it. 5250, I'm sorry. Page 46 out of 101.
Okay. Okay.
I'm looking for the
like towards the bottom, it's section off, it's right behind, oh shoot. Document status
5250.
250.
It's 46, out of 101.
So
What
if,
is the part?
so the part that, if you look on page 47 in the green,
Okay,
Ms. Brown, you need a copy of the policies?
so it's the child extended bereavement leave.
Yeah, it's in that section.
So the only thing we have to make a determination on is the number of,
Excuse me, I'm lost.
It's-
I don't
it's
know
right
whether
here.
I have the same, I don't think I have the same package.
so page 40.
Is this 46? That's it, that's what I have.
Oh, you printed this
is what was-
yourself?
No, this was given to me, is this it?
250.
This was given the last meeting, together like that,
Okay,
so I don't know.
well,
You did one that I gave. Is that the one?
46. So I guess yours is a couple pages on there. But here it is right there. Right there. So where it says Q1. So essentially this one just requires us to identify the size of our district, and based on the size of our district, the language changes. So the administration's recommendation is just to accept the recommendation for districts of 50 to 249 employees.
So unpaid leave for work is available to employees who experience loss of leave, child, so forth. But according, if the district employs 250 or more employees on a full-time base, an employee is entitled to a total of 12 weeks unpaid leave
Yes.
within 1 year
Mhm.
after the employee notifies the district of loss.
But for our district, the recommendation
This
is
is what we're
here.
saying. This
Here,
is
Wanda,
what
take
it
this.
I'm just, yeah, cause I.
No. Take this one. Because this is where we're following it. So this is. I'm good. All right. So we're right here. You good now?
I'm good. I need to have it.
So, for our district, so the default language is here in yellow that says if you have 250 or more employees, then you're entitled to 12 weeks of leave. However, for a district between 50 and 249 employees, you're entitled to 6 weeks of unpaid leave.
So you guys recommend what?
So essentially, we're going with the 50 to 249 employees
Okay,
because that's how many our district has.
okay.
So we should be the 12 weeks.
No,
No,
six.
6.
6 weeks.
6 weeks. Yeah. Any other questions about this policy? The next policy is 6230, library media. That is on page 57.
Out of 101.
It's the item mark number 5 in
Yeah.
that list.
Turn on this right here. So you only took this out.
Yeah, they changed the reference. I'm sorry, 6230. I'm sorry, that's my fault. 230.
Oh, 230.
That was my fault. Page 66, I apologize. And we're looking at number 5. And number 5 says, the program, our library media program adheres to the principles of American Library Association Library Bill of Rights, which indicates that materials should not be prescribed or removed because of partisan or doctrinal disapproval. And what that means is we can't take books out the library because we don't like it. That's a new state law. So we accepted the default language from the state that says the program adheres to the principles. The other alternative would be the practice of banning books or other material within the district library and media is prohibited. So either way, you're saying that we can't do that, but the top is what IASB recommends as far as language.
Program adheres to the principle.
Yes.
So, we've never had this before, right?
No, we've never had an issue with that in this district,
Right.
but outside of our district,
Mhm.
mostly districts that don't look like us,
Mhm.
that is a common practice for them to
So, yeah, I
ban
can see them changing
different
that.
types of books.
So,
So,
I don't think anything's gonna do that.
well,
Leave
that
that to the parents.
right. So that's the hard part. When you start to say we can't talk about this, but we can't talk
Right.
about this,
Mhm.
now you're discriminating.
Right,
So this state policy says that school districts cannot prohibit books based on what you believe.
mhm.
Okay, this is the policy. Well, I mean, just straight to the point, because right here, I know you chose the default. It said the practice of banning books or other materials within the district library media program is prohibited. That's it. This is bad.
Well, I think the top answer is more descriptive from a legal perspective. And so you're saying you can't remove it because of a partisan or doctrinal disapproval. So, I mean, it's kind of six in one hand, half a dozen in the other, but I think the top is more descriptive from a legal perspective.
And that was the reason why they did.
Right. So if a parent came in and said, I think you should remove all books that talked about Hitler or the Holocaust, then we would be directly supported and saying we can't do this because of your belief. Versus the bottom one just says it's prohibited totally.
So,
It is prohibited.
It is, but I think it gives more of an explanation as to why something is prohibited.
But yeah, I get it, but I was just looking as far as somebody just, average Joe read all this partisan doctrinal disapproval, to just say it's banned, it's prohibited.
Well,
That's
That's what I was looking
I
at.
understand
Well, it's user friendly, I say.
but policy is not user friendly.
right.
I mean, yeah,
So-
but
It
this is
should
just
be
like
direct
cut
to
cut.
Yeah.
It's just right there.
If legal
If
have
most
anything
of
to do
you all
with
agree, that's fine.
if legal,
You can't have both.
No, you have to choose one.
You have to choose one.
yeah,
That's why we have to agree to it, because if we choose the default, that's what's going to be policy. If we choose the other one, IASB will make this substitute. That's what it says.
Yeah.
So,
Are there any other questions about policy 6230?
I know.
so everybody approve of me agreeing to the first one?
Well, if anybody had questions about it, you not voting on it, if you had questions in regards to this.
Yeah.
So,
I need to.
anybody had a question about it? You got a question? Okay, we can go to the next one.
All right, the next one is 760 residency, and that's page 71. So this section talks about student residency, and so the question is, does the board wish to accept requests from district employees for their non-resident children to attend schools in the district on a tuition-free basis? The administration's response to this was no, because up until this year, we've had students who did not live in the community who had to pay tuition. So the administration's perspective was that if we allow teachers to bring students of none who don't live in the community, then we would have to allow anybody to come into the school and not pay tuition.
Not necessary.
Oh, yes, necessary.
Yes, so that's pretty
Yes.
much what we're doing.
Yeah, it's, well,
So, I mean,
Well, so us going to default continues the practice that we have.
right,
I have a question.
Yeah.
How many teachers will want to bring their kids on campus this year?
well,
And in who classroom would they want to put them in?
well,
That would be the $100.
but we've had
question.
teachers and staff to have students here.
previously, I'm talking about now.
Well, not now, but
Well, I'm talking
previously.
about right here in the present. I'm not talking about
So,
yesterday or tomorrow.
I will tell you, I have not dealt with that in this district because the policy says no. In my previous district, our policy was no as well, but because of COVID, you know, we want the teachers to come back to school, and parents say, well, my kid's school is closed, I need somewhere for them to go. And so what ended up happening was the floodgate opened.
And what happened with that?
You had a lot of people take advantage of the opportunity to bring their kid. And then it was, well, I like Miss Harris in third grade, I don't like Miss Dixon. So it became an issue.
Could it be Miss Harris teaching up in third grade better than Miss Dixon doing her job? Could that be the case?
I mean, if we were a building with one classroom per grade level, and your kid was in third grade and you were the third grade teacher, you would be teaching your kid.
Yes, ma'am.
So can I ask two questions?
Yep.
One of which is, you do have a challenge around teacher retention. And so when I thought about this, I thought about it in the context of teachers. Who better to be invested in the school than people that are actually here? I also want to know that what happens with this other thing that's not, we can't talk about necessarily, but we were talking about signing H-1B visas for folks that have to live within the parameter of the school district.
They don't have to live within our district.
They have to live within how many miles, there's a,
And yes, and that's based on the state of Illinois. Well, the United States. That's based on them. It's more of an accountability type of a deal.
So my question is there only an and or, is there a but? For?
That's your only option. No, we continue to not allow it, or B, the board creates a non-resident admission policy, and then we would have to work with the attorneys based on in the state to codify what that looks like. Ms. Love.
I agree with the administration, because you will open up a floodgate if you change and say that anybody can come here. That means that Chicago can send all their low achieving students along with their behavior problems, and along with the suburban teachers, all schools can send them right here, and we cannot get rid of them. And so we become overcrowded, and we're already teacher shortage, so we're still trying to get teachers, and we do not want our classrooms to go more than 22 to 1, because if you let everyone in, you're gonna have at least 35 to 1, if not more. And then we're short on space too. We got a new building, but when you start letting everyone in, you will see that the room is taken up.
So how about we choose and pick who we want to come in? Because that's pretty
You
much
can't
what
get
we've
this
been doing.
open.
That's what we've been doing, Miss Love. You chose to have a child and you didn't.
Don't start. Don't start. Don't
So
start.
what you saying is valid.
When you talk,
Okay.
see, I'm trying to talk, and I'm valid.
I waited till you
See,
done.
no, but you starting something.
You lying.
Can we please?
Can we please? Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
just saying it.
Can we
You understand?
please?
Okay, so can I
Can we
say something?
please stay focused?
I'm gonna
Yeah,
say
you
something.
said
Sherry, you
stay
got
focused.
something to say?
No, can
Yes.
we please stay
Yes,
focused
okay.
right now?
I do. It's not towards you.
Can we please stay focused?
Yes, ma'am.
My whole thing.
Miss Story, please. Miss Love, are you done?
No, I was not done.
Okay, then, please continue.
Because like I said, we're opening up a floodgate. And like I said, everybody will come here. You cannot pick and choose if you have an open door, because you've gotten rid of it. Where it is now with residents, you can, but not when there's no residents at all. That means every suburb out here can send their problems. They can send all the extra kids that they do not want. Chicago can do it. Push and shove any other suburbs out here. If they're a mile away from the school, an hour away from the school, they can get bus transportation. So I say leave it as is, residency.
Thank you, Miss
And the
Love.
taxes will go up.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, may I say something? I say if the teachers do get a chance to come here, maybe they would do differently as far as educating the kids. If the child, just the thought about it. And again, how can this Miss Love sit here and even make that little 2-minute speech about residency when she did what she did?
What did I do?
Miss Love, Miss
What
Love,
did I
Miss
do?
Love, Miss
I
Love,
didn't say anything about
Miss
you,
Love.
Miss Love. What you did, she asked what she do, and I'm going to tell you what
Tell
you
me.
did. The lawyer said that the kid did not belong in your home. Okay?
Yeah, that was in closed session.
Okay,
was
so
in
she has what
closed
she
session.
did, so now she,
That was
you
in
want
closed
to talk about,
session.
so
We
we
talking
can
with the parent here.
Okay, well, I'm just going about what the lawyer said. I don't have nothing against this woman or her child. I don't even know her, Miss London.
Miss
I'm
Dixon.
going by
Miss
policy.
Dixon.
So,
Well, you
again,
yeah, stop her, cause she's on, she's
Miss
wrong.
Dixon.
She's wrong.
Miss Love,
Tessie.
please.
see,
Miss
it's-
Dixon. What I'm not gonna do, I'm not gonna allow us to carry this meeting the way it is.
Thank you.
Miss Love, please. I really don't need that.
Wait,
Because at
take
this
it back,
point-
then I take it back.
Cause at this point, we come here to talk about 5 policies that we had already previously talked about in a meeting. So now we get opportunity to come back and have a conversation. So I would like to stick by the scripts. And that is only to discuss what's necessary. Please. That's pretty much it. Anyone else have a question?
Yeah.
Ms. Stewart.
Ms.
So
Stewart?
basically, I actually agree with Dixon about if the teachers are based on the condition of where we are, I'll just say, just coming to work every night, and if they are allowed to bring their kids to the school where they work at, place of employment, then maybe with the retention, we'll keep teacher retention. I do understand about COVID. If it's a policy, like you said, Dr. Alexander, we have to see what that policy may look like. We just can't say, okay, you bring your child, you bring your child. We have to see what it looks like and they follow the certain parameters. That's why it's a policy. But you never know. I get what you're saying. You never know. Because if I bring my kid, a teacher may say, I'm not bringing my kid to that school, like Dixon said. So therefore, if they say they bringing a kid, then they must believe, okay, it's a potential.
a
I'm
quality
gonna bring
school.
exactly. So you never know, but just to have that option. I don't have a babysitter. My kid is in the school. So then that was an option to me. And then that helped. Then you could push forward. Because guess what? That teacher gonna come to school because they want their kid to be in school.
I have a quick question in terms of, someone saying something about opening the floodgates. So are we specifically talking about teachers,
No,
bringing, just
any
anybody?
district employee.
Anybody.
But that's not what it said.
But that's
It
what
says-
we are doing.
It says a child of the district employee, it doesn't specifically
Period.
say teacher, so it's any employee
Anybody.
of the district.
Okay.
So
So
anybody that works here, not just anybody in the streets that comes in
I don't
from
think-
any other
That's not
community.
specified.
I don't think the union would allow you to say only teachers.
Right, no, I'm just saying just staff, period.
So
Staff
all
in the
staff,
district.
correct.
Okay, but if they have to pay tuition, I mean, okay, if they willing to pay tuition, what's the problem? But again, if we're gonna go by policy, let's go by all the policies. That's all I'm saying. So when I sit here and say, you cannot pick and choose what policy you wanna go by because you're the board. That's all I'm saying, as a whole, for all the kids. And one thing for sure, if a teacher's in there, she's gonna make sure her kids educated. So that means all the teachers, all the kids that's in the classroom, the extra 28 kids that's in the classroom are going to get educated. That's all I'm saying.
So I would like to say this because I do know personally that there have been staff and teachers having their children here. They didn't like how the district was moving, they got their kids back here.
mhm.
And as far as I'm concerned, they still don't like the way the district is moving.
So we don't have to worry.
So why are we making any waves for them when we're not moving the way we're supposed to be moving?
Mhm.
So that's a no-brainer. And as a community member, I don't want to have anybody outside of this district coming over here that we had to pay our taxes for them to get them kids free education, whatever. I mean, because technically, they're wanting more money. They're not worried about babysitting. They're wanting money. Babysitting is the last thing they on their mind.
I beg to differ. When I was in the district, I did bring my child to school, and that did help severely.
But what area?
Because it still helped. It did.
But
I
it
didn't
wasn't
like.
here.
I didn't like.
That was CPS.
No, I did not like how things was being ran. But I was in the school with my child, but that did help severely, and it helped. It did open up some things for teachers to bring their kids to school and that just helped them up. So it depends on the situation.
And so
Not
I-
just to say, okay, it's not babysitting. Sometimes it is with childcare. And so you have to look at everybody's situation is different. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we don't have the resources
Resource for what?
for babysitting.
It's not babysitting.
But you just said, I mean, it's
No,
almost like babysitting.
No, it's not. If I'm working and my child is in school where I am, so when I get off work, I stand late doing my thing, and then that's the child care. So that's not like babysitting because the teachers are gone, or they stay late or whatever, and they don't have to rush to try to get their child from child care.
Well,
So it's not like, oh, I'm taking the kid to the school and the teacher's gonna babysit. Just like Dixon said, that the teacher's gonna teach their kids in the school. That's the education. Everybody else get that education.
well, as a taxpayer, I'm
Well,
not
you know
for it.
what,
'Cause
excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt you, but again, if we're gonna stick to the policies, let's stick to the policies, okay? So we already did the policies where the kids who was not in our district that leave, and what happened? That was a total mess. I mean, what was the purpose of us even hiring anyone to do that?
So again, I don't think that the community would be in agreement with us
Yeah.
allowing, because there's no space.
So do they know the
It would
situation
open
now?
up.
I mean, because I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying
Let
to
me
be
just say
funny.
this, look,
I'm just
look,
saying.
this is, because as far as I'm concerned, this would be personal.
What do you mean it would be
This
personal?
would be personal. This would be opening up as my personal beliefs. It's not about
But
you.
that's what we've been doing.
It's
since
not about
I've
you.
been doing
It's not
it.
about
It's not about you, Ms.
That's-
I'm
Brown.
talking
It ain't
about teachers
Listen.
and staff.
That's what's been
This
So
is
going
what
I'm
I'm
taking,
trying to
removing
say.
myself out the way.
What about the community? Listen, the village was getting ready to build a huge apartment complex.
to more kids.
Excuse me. That means that we cannot turn those children away. But we got teachers here with their children coming here free. So then they takes the seat of a child that live here in the district. Where are we gonna sit them? Because right now we have 30, but how many in the classroom? What's the most you have in the classroom?
The motion now is 30.
No, I know that, but how many you know offhand we have?
We don't have any class at max. We have a couple classes at the primary grades where we are teetering.
What is teetering?
We may be 2 to 3 away from max.
So again, you're looking at 28, 29 students in the class.
Could be.
And they have to have an aide in that class.
Oh, 30.
So what happens when somebody absent and then they have to take that aid out of class? Do they do that? I don't know. if
Yes, they do.
that. I'm just
They
curious.
do
they
Not
that?
supposed.
Well, they do it, don't they?
Well, unfortunately, we do have to take aides out of the class sometimes, and they have to fill in as substitute teachers. Our contract
They
allows.
have substitute license.
Yes, they do. Our contract allows for aides to fill in as subs. Here's my last piece to
Please,
this
come.
recommendation. I'm perfectly fine with the board creating a policy, but here's the caveat. If you do that, then I think you need to create a reverse policy as it relates to any student. Because it becomes an issue when you say teachers bring your kids, no question. But then what about kids who come from other places? So I think if the board is going to move in the direction of allowing the teacher or the staff, then there has to be some consideration given about kids who don't live in the community and they want to come.
Well, let's talk to the attorney about it. I mean, to be honest, because like you said, if you create the policy, it says as such, and you create the policy
Talking to the attorney.
about what he's if we decide or whatever to let the teachers come. My whole thing was about the teachers staying because it's a
We have to, how many teachers? First of all, there have to be teachers in place who want to come here.
exactly.
So what are you talking
So
about?
wouldn't that be a great incentive? Wouldn't it be a
You know
great-
what would be a great incentive?
Wait
We
a
pay the
minute,
money.
wait a minute. Wouldn't it be a great incentive if you could be a teacher here and then you have the option to bring your child?
That's not glorifying to make it look good. They're wanting money.
I
So we
get
need
it.
to have listen, however y'all want to do
Can
it.
I say something?
However y'all want to do it.
Oh, that's wonderful. But again, policies is policies. So you saying
And
for
I'm
the
agreeing with
teacher,
that too.
you saying for let the teachers bring their kids, but then you gonna pick and choose what teacher can bring their kids? Are we gonna do that? But that's what we've been doing. That's exactly
We're
what
open
I'm
up.
Now
saying.
we
We've
create
been
a new
picking and
policy.
choosing, and we already could be in a chance of being in trouble because of the policy we have done that you three agreed on. So let's watch it when it comes
But
down
you
to
know what, no.
policy, okay?
Okay,
Let's just-
You know what?
but we
Let me
can't-
just move on. So now what we're gonna do is, so now what we're gonna do is, John, if you've written down that the attorney is gonna give whatever advice he knows, because any advice that he's been telling us so far, we have not been taking those advices. But please put that down.
Actually,
So what,
order.
what's the next one?
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Yes,
So we've not voted on it.
we're not voting on anything, we're just talking about it.
So I'm trying to figure out what exactly is the issue, except that when this comes up for a vote, and you don't have enough votes to pass it, then you would ask the attorney to address or be specific about what it is that you want to change. That's correct.
So Ms. Story, and she's the only person that stated that she would like to see the attorney give an advice about how can we create a policy on something that may open the about having staff bring their children.
One way or
We've
the
never
other.
done that. We've never creating a policy just to do it on GP. That's yeah. Cause listen, you write a policy if we going to stick by it. If it's legitimate.
That's not
But you
legitimate.
heard your own staff say no.
That's
The staff said no. They in disagreement
not
of it.
because of that.
But you're saying teachers.
You said it's not legitimate. So we have an obligation as the board to create policy. We do. So
I said we did.
okay, but you saying it's not legitimate.
What I mean is, let me explain
It
myself.
specifically states
Excuse
no
me?
and yes.
Can I do this?
So y'all going back and forth,
No,
but
can I do this?
go ahead, but I have something to say.
So
What I'm stating to you, Ms. Story, is this, and it's very clear. I'm not trying to do no grandstanding. I'm not trying
you're
to.
standing on what?
Let me finish, please.
I'm
ma'am.
just asking for
Ma'am,
clarification.
I'm trying to.
I'm not
Can you
arguing.
please let me
But I'm
finish?
not arguing.
That's fine, and we're discussing it.
Okay.
I'm not putting on a grandstand. The staff gave a recommendation to the board. That's number one, to say no. Because it will open up a floodgate of other people coming from all areas. We've never done that. This district's never done that. We got children right here that we don't even have space for. But you're concerned about teachers. We have to get teachers first. And that is only because they're wanting money.
But
I've never heard them say they need to bring them closer. It's not how would you say, describe it? It's not attractive to them. Our district is not attractive.
okay.
So
well,
I
maybe
just
that's
choose,
just-
so I think personally, our district should be focusing on things that have more relevance.
like scores. I understand. We just
And
having a
if the
discussion.
district, if the staff recommended, Dr. Alexander just shared with us why the recommendations was no. What are we doing?
We just having a discussion.
So now you still want to bring the attorney to do what?
If in fact, I mean, it goes to a vote either way it go. But
But
if
I know that.
I'm
but
just, can I talk?
I'm just trying to get an answer or a clarity on what Ms. Brown just stated about that.
I'm just
What is
trying
the
to.
purpose of us having the attorney?
I stated that, so I'm trying to talk. So what I was saying is, based on Alexander, if in fact we choose one way or the other, we have to create a policy. Within creating that policy, yes, we will have to see what parameters are in place. We will need to have the attorney. If we opening up a floodgates, then people could come in. What's our option here? If because there was no vote, if in fact we do that, then what are our options? What's the parameters? That's why we need the attorney to come in and advise. That's all I was saying. That's it.
May I say something? I just want to say, I want to apologize to Madam President and the Superintendent. I just wanted to see how far you was gonna go with this. That's why I said that. I don't think a teacher that teaching in 132, District 132, would want to bring a kid in this district, number one. Number two, you sitting here and you arguing back and forth about a policy. A policy. Which you didn't give a regard on the policy that we voted on for a child to come in this district. I just wanted to see how you was gonna take that ball and run with it. And you ran all the way to the court, baby. You made a dunk. Do you hear me? So I say that to say this. If you're gonna argue about a policy, make sure you stand by all the policy. Don't pick and choose the policy you wanna argue with her about. Stand by the policy, because this is the problem we've been having in this district. People wanna choose. They wanna be, oh, I'm on the board, so I can do what I wanna do. You out of line. Just like for everything else, you are out of line. You can make your suggestion, you should as well, you should.
Thank you, Ms.
But
Dixon.
again,
I'm not
saying,
gonna
I'm not
argue.
done. I'm not done.
Okay.
I'm not
But
done.
she not done.
I
and
am
I wanna
not
say
done.
something.
So I'm gonna
Wait a
say it
minute.
again. You can
I
say
get
whatever
it.
you want after I say it, but I'm gonna say it to you. You wanna stand right, stand right. Stand right, do the right thing.
I'm gonna be consistent.
I'm
but
just
trying
tired.
not to finish.
I'm just tired of the nonsense. I'm tired of you sitting here picking and choosing what you want.
Can we?
Do what's right, and I'm done.
All
Do
right,
what's right.
Miss excuse me.
I thought I was after her.
No, Miss
Okay, I'll
See
wait.
what I don't want
I'll-
is a debate going back and forth.
I just wanna say my
We
comment and
discussing
I'm done.
about the policy.
That's correct.
You've already said how you wanna move with that. Okay?
But she's accusing me
Okay,
of
stop,
with the
Miss-
policy.
stop, Miss Laura.
She just
I'll
stated
let-
that.
I'll wait my time. Let her have it.
No.
Okay, what I was going to say was that when my daughter was in school, I worked on the west side and we lived out here. And I decided that, okay, the west side was in the middle of the ghetto. And it was on 2651 West Washington Boulevard in the Robert Taylor, no, not the Robert Taylor, the Rockwell Gardens and Rockwell Gardens. And so I took her with me because I couldn't get back out here to get her out of school in time. She stayed with me until 6th grade, and then I transferred her back out here for 7th and 8th grade because I wanted her to get to know the people that she was going to go to high school with and have lasting friends, and she's got 4 of them that's in 7th grade. But I had to pay tuition for those 6 years that she was with me. And I didn't mind because it was coming, I did mind, but it was coming out of my paycheck. But that child got the best education on that west side because she was with me, but they had some fantastic teachers in that school, especially one that she stayed with for 3 years. And she became a math genius and a science genius. And so I was glad to have her because, like I said, we had some fantastic teachers. And here, we might have 1 or 2, but I don't know what else we have here. I don't see anybody standing out, receiving awards and things, but I do give credit to my teachers here because they are good. They are trying their best. But sometimes you run kind of short because of other things that goes on. But the teachers here do try. But we don't have any outstanding one except, like I said, I put it up to about 5. Because we have a turnover. We have a big turnover all the time. 1 year here, we had a turnover of 15 teachers. And I couldn't believe it.
So, I do agree with you, Ms. Love, but again, we are opening up something. If the staff.
Oh, I'm not complaining about that.
I'm not saying you.
I don't.
No, I'm not saying you to complain either. I'm just, let's go to the next one. Please, because I'm not gonna back and forth. Go to the next one.
We're not
We
going
didn't
back.
make up our mind. She didn't give a chance to say what she needed to say
Look, I'm
because
not-
she was accused of something,
Listen,
and she should not have been accused
first of all,
of anything.
first of all,
You don't
when
even
we-
hear yourself. You did
first
not
of
hear
all,
yourself.
Miss Love, Miss Dixon,
Yeah, tell Dixon.
you.
Call her name
I
sometime
wish,
first.
listen,
Oh my God.
Miss Dixon. This is one of the reasons why teachers don't want to bring their children.
Exactly.
So we're getting ready to make all these waves because folks want to grandstand. You want to.
I don't believe,
Go to the next policy.
Madam
please.
President, with all due
Please go to the
respect,
next policy.
see, that's the problem.
Because, no, the problem is,
With all due
everybody's
respect,
going back
nobody
and
is
forth.
grandstanding.
everybody
It's just
is going
merely
back and forth. Miss
Answer
Lori,
yes or
Miss
no.
Dixon, you are going back and forth.
I didn't.
I am not safe.
I
We're
didn't.
going to make sure the attorney is present,
That's it. Okay,
okay?
I'm with you. There you go.
Go ahead.
What's the next one?
The next policy, 7190, student behavior. It starts on page 79. The required question is on, actually page 84. The building principal must notify the student's parents / guardian only when the alleged offense is firearm possession. This policy expands the notification duty to include drug-related incidents and battery of a staff. So the question is, would the board like to expand the notification of duty or align it with the subset B? What this means essentially is we have a responsibility the principal has a responsibility to contact parents immediately when certain situations happen. Even before you talk to the kid, investigate, some things you have to notify the parent immediately. Right now, the policy only talks about possession of a firearm, but the addition or the amendment expands the notification duty to include drug-related incidents and battery of a staff.
Let me ask you a
This
question.
one here.
So when they, I'm just waiting. So when they said 1,000 feet of the school, so exactly where would that, I'm up here,
That's not part of the amendment.
it's not part of the.
No, the amendment is only in green, but right here. So they're asking if we want to expand the definition of what you have to notify a parent of only for firearms, or do we want to expand it to drug-related incidents and battery of the staff?
It should be all.
I got a question.
So
It should be all.
that's
That's a no-brainer.
that's the administration's recommendation, to expand it to capture all of it.
Okay.
Yes.
So what is this?
Wait, hold on one second.
I have a question. My question is, when do we get notified?
Who is,
As the board. I mean, at the end, you saying the parent, the principal, and I'm sure you get notified, right? As
yes,
far as
at some point, yeah.
So when do we get notified? Because do we be the last one to find out what's going on? So
Well, usually the board would be notified once the situation is under control.
but
But
not when it happens and take place. And so
Well,
when something
usually
happens as it takes place.
if it takes place, then we're probably dealing with it. So the board probably would not receive a phone call within the first 30 minutes to say, we had a kid to come with a gun. Now, you may get a call within an hour and a half once we've gotten to some level of resolution, meaning the police have been identified, the student has been apprehended, the legal authorities are at the school, we've made sure everybody was safe. So it's part of the protocol to notify the board, but you finding out 6 seconds after I find out is probably not logical, just because there are other things that have to happen prior to that.
Well, I'm
You know
not beg to differ, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, as nosy as this board is, we should know about 3 seconds after that.
And
I
Nosy
say
as
that
we are.
because I say that.
Yeah,
because-
listen, I would
I
like to
said
go right
it
away.
because soon as
That
the
is,
semester
I'm
is
talking
over,
about the
yes,
nosy
we
Go
part.
later, or, yeah.
Uh-huh, that was unnecessary.
Again, and we've had this instance
Well, we
before.
just doing all kind of shit, boy.
We've had this instance before, and again, especially, so we have an emergency management plan, and we have to jump into action with that emergency management plan. And I am a huge part as a superintendent, as the commander of the incident. So everything has to go through me, police notification, if we have to notify let's say it's a hazardous, somebody has a chemical or something. We think it's drugs, but it's really something that I'm making stuff up on the fly. But there's a process and a protocol. So before I get on the phone and start calling board members, I have to make sure that the situation has been mitigated and that all students are safe in the building. And then,
Just please. No, go ahead.
so once the protocols have been in place, everything is contained, then notification of the board will happen.
Now, can I say something?
Wait, can you please just,
I'm just saying.
Because what it's like you two having a conversation, so
Okay,
can we please just,
asking a question.
I know, but can we just move it around?
Okay.
Everybody.
Okay, go away.
Does
I can
anyone
go around.
else have something to ask in regards to this?
I feel that the board member, if you have a gun, the board member, at least the board president should be notified. Whoever that may be, but at least the board president needs to be notified, because what if, the board president has other people that knows other people, like, what's going on at your school? It's a gun. You like, a gun? What's going on? So the board president is not in the know and doesn't, and then they'll be blowing your phone up. A board president will be blowing you up. But if it's a gun, then maybe they could come to the school or whatever the case may be to be in the know. Because if a board, we're not in the know, at least the board president.
So
That's
I'm not saying that you're not notified at all. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, being honest, if there's a gun in the building, my top priority is not to call the board president. My
Right.
top priority is to make sure everybody is safe. Meaning we have to do soft lockdown, hard lockdown. That's my top priority. Once I determine that everybody's safe, everybody's in place, the risk has been mitigated, then we start going through the process. Hey, board president, this, that, and the other. It happened before. I've called the board president and sent an email to the board. So it's not that the board won't receive the information. I'm just saying have a little grace and understand that we have to manage the situation.
Just one question. So if that's a scenario, if I'm a teacher and I seen a gun on a student, I have to notify my boss.
Correct.
So in turn, I notify my boss within seconds or whatever when I see it. In turn, if I'm notifying my boss as a staff person, as a teacher, then at what point is that turnaround that you notify your boss? At least the board president.
So the difference is when that teacher notifies the principal, usually the teacher's gonna notify the principal in secret. They're not gonna let the kids know, because then you're gonna cause a frenzy. So they're going to notify the principal so that the principal can take action. Part of our emergency management plan is that when the principal figures it out, you have to notify district office, because we have to step in and to make other things happen. So it's not just a game of telephone. It's actual action that has to happen in the mix. So I'm not saying that the board is not a priority, but the top priority is to make sure that the situation at the ground level has been mitigated before you do anything.
Dr. Alexander, all due respect, I get it, but sometimes that could have just been delegated. Call the board president, let her know, and we'll provide more details to her. That's it.
And that's perfectly fine. I'm just saying sometimes in the instance, if it's actually happening, you may not even have the ability to call the board president. If something's going on, they may not even have the opportunity to call you. So that's what I'm saying. It's not withholding information at all. It's more about maintaining safety and security on site.
Ms. Love.
I'm in agreement with you, Dr. Alexander, because when a situation happens like that, you don't need any extra people coming into the school getting involved when they don't know what's going on. And once you've settled everything, then you let me know, because I know that you know what you're doing. And once everything is done, hey, I'm satisfied. You taking care of it? Good. Because what can I do? What can I do? I'm just an extra person in the building, and now you got to look out for me instead of who the people are. Or if I want to come up there because I'm getting excited about it, I need to see what's going on. No, after everything is over with, notify me. You took care of it. That's all. That's all I want to know. You took care of it.
Yeah, all I just wanted to say is sometimes things do happen so fast that you just, all you can think about is the safety.
Exactly.
And so, I don't think that would be a priority of the state. Everything else is. I agree with that, you should.
I know for a fact that there have been,
I think you should know, but not in the chaos, not within the chaos.
not within that
Right.
action right there, but I do know for a fact that we have come into a lot of situations, whether it's guns, weapons, drugs, or something, whatever. It has come up, and the school was in shambles because of lack of communication. And we've been in part of that with staff, not doing protocol and so forth, but this is before you. So again, that needs to, all of that needs to be accepted. But at the same time, again, I think not so much as, because a board member can get information before you. You understand how that goes?
I get it.
A board member can get information before. That's because if we're part of the community, you know, if these kids, they share information before the staff, you know, and they call their parents. They calling their parents, and then the parents come up in an uproar. You gotta calm the situation down before it get really out of hand. So yeah, you do the protocol, you handle the situation, then you know move forward. But yeah, wait, Ms. Brown.
Dr. Alexander, is there any other instance in which a student is allowed or guaranteed a certain amount of anonymity? Is there? I don't know about. So the second provision allows for an expectation of privacy on the part of the student. Is there any other instance that you know of where a student is guaranteed some sense of anonymity as to, I don't know if that's about classes that are taken or some other, are there any other instances in which a young person might be guaranteed their right to privacy?
So, yes, this is specifically towards criminal activity.
That's not what I'm asking.
No,
I'm asking you.
Yeah, so the answer to your question is yes.
And under what circumstances?
So let's say that a kid made an allegation they were raped or inappropriately touched. Then yes, they have a right of privacy. We follow the protocols, be that, I'll give you a better one. Let's say the kid said, my dad touched me at home, and they tell somebody. They have a right to privacy. We follow DCFS, social workers, we contact the medical experts, all of that. So yes, this is specifically related to criminal behavior. So stuff that will cause a material disruption or immediate harm to students or staff within the school.
So there's only one instance that it sounds like that it.
Well, no,
I was looking, I didn't see it in the code.
I was just giving you an example because so if you go through student rights and not FERPA, what's the one for kids? But the Student Rights Act, if you go through that, it outlines what you could tell a parent based on what a kid said. And then it has age requirements as well. So if a 5-year-old tell you that they got raped, it's different versus a 14-year-old. So we do follow that. But this in particular is about criminal activity.
This is about student behavior. Them bringing weapons, drugs, whatever the case may be. I think it needs to be a little stricter, but you know, I don't know what we do when that happens. Is that a part of that?
What's that?
As far as if a child were to have.
So that goes to your district code of conduct, how you respond to that.
Okay.
So administration's recommendation is to go along with IASB and expand the notification duty to include drug-related incidents and battery of a staff member.
Okay.
Now, I said what I had to say. I agree with Sherry on certain things. Again, we know everything goes to
Are you
protocol.
sure about that?
On certain things, on certain things she said I do agree with. But listen.
No, I just want to
listen,
She may be testing you.
Yeah, exactly.
whatever. But again,
You said
we
it.
know there's a protocol to everything, right?
Yes.
So again, I don't want to be the last one to hear about anything that happens that's really bad up in this school. Who gonna run up to the school if they're not the police? If he called the president, what's she gonna go up there for?
You'd be
There's nothing she
surprised.
should do.
Why are you questioning this stuff? Are you questioning this?
I'm talking right now. I know for staff members that have been, board members.
Wait,
that
yeah,
bring
Miss
up
Story,
to
Miss
the
Brown.
And that
I'm
doesn't
well
help.
aware of that.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, there have been board members who ran up here for no reason. Okay? So again, I'm just saying, it's a protocol for everything. I don't want to be the last one to know about it. That's all I got.
Is that
Is that the 5?
Is that 5?
We got one more.
Wait a minute,
No, that
Dr.
was 4.
Alexander, wait a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Look at, because
Wait,
this
is
is,
this the number 5?
this is within this
The same
policy.
policy.
The
Is it
same
the same?
It's not that, but it's within the policy that they want us to vote to, agree to.
But which one?
It's number 8 on page 80.
But is this any of the 5?
It's not, but it's the
So
policy
can we do the 5 first?
first and then come back to the
And
policy.
whatever extra one, please.
Oh, because we was
I wanna
already
stick
in
with the
this
agenda.
policy.
The agenda said 5. So
But
that's
it says
extra.
policy.
Listen what I'm saying. We were talking about 5. And we all agreed, didn't we?
It is-
Miss Story, didn't we all agree that it's
We
only
said-
5?
It was
And I
5
just-
to agree on, but we
So
still
let's
talking about
talk about the
policy.
5 policies that we came to talk about. And that extra one that you wanna talk about, let's wait till after.
I
Can we do that?
understand, but it's, could I just say this? It's still within the same, wait 1 second, it's still within the
And
same
we can come back to that.
policy.
Let's come back to it, that's what I'm asking.
7:190.
Can we come back to it?
It's still within the same.
I don't care, but we can still come back to it.
That's fine.
Thank you. Let's go
Let's
to pick
stick
one.
with it. Thank you.
The 5th policy is 7270, administering medicine to students. And that is on page, it starts on page 87. And, click the next one, John. So this one basically says, does the district maintain special education facilities for children with disabilities? And the answer for our district would be no. That, the facility they're talking about, is if we had, I was gonna say the unofficial word, but I can't remember the technical term, but if we had a facility that had padded walls for severe, I'm sorry, Ms. Love, I just couldn't think of what that's really called, but if we had a specialized facility for students with extreme disabilities and behaviors, and the answer to that question is no, we don't.
I think there was a law, I forget what year it was, that it was in the law book that it passed, that they required the schools not to administrate medications. So if you had kids that was legal marijuana, the medical marijuana, and there's some other drugs too. You know, we only have one nurse,
We don't want that out there.
and so in each building, so I don't think I think we had an incident, I'm not
Well,
sure if you guys were on the board at the time. There was a teacher that gave out medicine, and it was a mess. I can't recall.
So this policy is actually not asking us about physical medicine.
It just,
They're asking us specifically about the addition of, so under the, right there on page 88, it says school district supply and undesignated oxygen tanks. So this is
Okay.
talking more materials.
I
Do
see.
we have the type of facilities where oxygen tanks are hazardous? Well, we have oxygen tanks because they are a hazard.
Okay,
You have to have special code enforcement going on if you have that stuff, and we don't have that.
so those are the children that goes
To
outside
the
the
co-op,
district.
yes.
Okay.
This would mostly relate to a school that was a co-op or a district that had cluster programs inside of it.
But the recommendation is,
No,
okay,
because we don't have those facilities.
okay.
So, just to be clear, we do not house any oxygen tanks or anything.
No.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have questions about that? No questions?
Okay, so that also includes, what is it, injections, the epidermal injections.
Is that the
That,
same?
is
So
that
the-
included also,
The nurse, no, that's not,
the nurse
so
can
the
do that?
nurse can administer medicine.
Okay,
If a kid has diabetes, the nurse
Yeah, they
can
can do that.
administer the insulin shot.
okay,
The nurse can do that as long as it's a doctor's order and it's written in either an IEP or 504, then yes, you can do that.
okay.
Really quick, Dr. Alexander.
Mhm.
So with the cannabis control, do we have
Tell
any?
me where you are.
I'm on page 90. I was just looking at the law, the Illinois Code
Mhm.
720. I just want to ask a question. Do we have any kids that? Yeah, we can't say that. Okay, you don't have to say that. That's close session. I have to catch myself, but
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you the exact same thing I just said. As long as it's in their IEP
AP got
or
you.
504,
Okay, that's
they are
why-
entitled to it.
That's why I was quiet because we
Yeah.
can't discuss that. I just want to.
I'm I'm
Good
glad
question.
you brought
I
yourself.
had to catch myself quick on that one. Okay, I did. But I understand. I had to catch myself on that. But I was even looking at
What's the other part?
real quick though, just
About the AI.
88. Yeah, I was looking at that one too. But look, real quick, administrative medical. Okay, got it. I'm sorry, I'm looking at it. I'm good with it.
Okay, what's that other one that you want?
You were gonna ask something about the artificial intelligence.
The artificial intelligence.
What is that?
So if you go back to
Page
go back to 80.
81.
Back on the student behavior policy. Now, page 80, number 8. So that's what the artificial intelligence. So the policy is saying update number 8, engaging in academic dishonesty. So they using the writing services. So that's how do we know if they're using AI? Do we have something that catch plagiarism?
At the elementary level, I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
At the high school level, they do require the students to use Turnitin.com and a lot of these other proprietary softwares. At the elementary level, I don't think it's taken off yet. Not to say it doesn't happen, but it hasn't really taken off. What this language says is that this gives your board the authority to enforce it or not. Or gives your board the authority to say, yes, artificial intelligence can be utilized, of which it's an actual outstanding tool
Everybody.
if you use it right,
Right.
or it allows the district to say no, it cannot be.
I think, look, that right there, everybody using that.
And we're not being asked to make a decision on this because this is what the new law says.
Yes. This
Right. I was just
Yeah.
looking at it because it's in green, so I was
Yeah,
just.
that's the new
asking.
addition to the law.
Okay. And then in the same policy about things happening with it, like it's the same policy, but just turn to 84.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to get look at the question one more time. I just wanted to get clarity. It says expand the notification duty to include drug-related incidents and battery of staff. So does that mean with the staff member too?
Interesting question.
So this is only talking about student behavior. You mean if a staff member performed a battery on a student?
Battery of the staff.
Right, but I was asking about drug-related incidents.
That's totally different.
If a staff member too. So I'm just asking.
So if we, in the instance that we had a teacher who came to school noticeably under the influence, and we had to do, what is it called? Fit for duty physical, then yes, the board would know about it because that could potentially impact your insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, the board would have to know about that.
If they came, I just say that because sometimes I don't know. I know it's not a policy, but since marijuana is legal, and then sometimes you may smell it on people's body or if they're in their cars or anything like that. Have you? I can't say have you dealt with it, but I'm just saying sometimes.
The law says that the school is a drug-free place. So you can't do drugs on the school premises, or you can't currently be under the influence. If you smell like weed, then we will put you up for a fit for duty. And the fit for duty, it's going to be tricky. And I have dealt with this. It's going to be tricky because you can get high as a kite on your off time.
Exactly.
But if you're still high when you come to school, that's when you're going to have an issue.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not high at school, even if you smell it, and we do a drug test and it says you're not high, no, they don't care if you have the drugs in your system because that's legal.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you're not actively high would absolve you of any
Even
issue.
if you're clothes, right?
Even if it's in your clothes.
Even if it's in
And
your
so
clothes.
I think that would be more of a disciplinary thing to say, you came to school inappropriate, blah, 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 blah. But if it was me, if I smelled it, I would substantiate it by giving you a fit for duty physical because that substantiates my claim versus I think I smell weed on you. That's not me, that's her.
Mm. But I know that I do know that there have been parents coming into school
Mm-hmm.
smelling like that.
Mm-hmm.
So where does that lie? Because again, if this is a drug-free, I guess I understand about all of that. But at the same time, if they come in our school, and they have walked in the office, smelling like that, at some point, how do you address that?
That would be a civil thing,
Huh?
in police. That's not something that the school, so
Wait.
we can have a policy,
So wait. You say civil,
police,
so again, we can ask them to leave.
yes, but that's not a policy.
No, I'm just asking, how would that be addressed?
You can ask them to leave. Now, in my previous district, I had to put a policy in place, which was more of a disciplinary policy, because parents would get high on the way to school to drop their kid off.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah,
but then the kids is in their
The
clothes.
kids come
Yeah.
smelling like that.
Right.
10 minutes later, they're hungry. So we had, they got the munchies. So we had to put a policy in place that said, if your kid comes to school smelling like marijuana, then we would immediately call DCFS.
Well,
And
guess,
that's to create a policy, because,
And technically, we don't even have to create a policy for that
we just,
because
yeah, we
that's
have
the
to
law.
do that.
But
Right.
you said come to school, so if the parent come in and pick up the kid that's smelling like me,
You just ask them to leave. There's nothing you
That's
can
right.
do to the
Yeah,
parent.
and the police is not gonna do anything because it's legal.
and they're not gonna wait till police come, but still, I mean,
But I mean, it's a no-brainer.
And
Hey,
you
sir,
can put
ma'am.
signs up all day
Yes,
long.
we can do that.
You can't come to school smelling like weed. You
Right.
can't come to school with pajamas and a bonnet on. People still
You
do it.
people still do it.
People
it's in
still
the
do
news
it.
now.
Right, I was just saying, right, and that's true, because we can't even touch that because it's
Right.
legal. But I was just saying as far as staff, because, you know,
There's a process. for it.
there,
And it can
you
be
do
also
smell
yeah.
some
Yes.
things with staff members, and they come in.
And not just that though. Not just
Smell
that.
it, and it could be on their
No, what
clothes.
I'm saying, not just that, it's liquor too.
I was just getting ready to
Okay,
say,
we can't just do one without the other.
That's
Cause
right.
they,
I agree. So, one last thing with the, what you say, the fifth, what you say, they do the fifth, whatever.
The fit for duty.
The
Yes.
fit,
What is
fit for duty.
So
That's what
basically, I'm gonna pick on Miss Love. If Miss Love came in here and she was high,
Mm.
I would say, hey, Miss Love, let me talk to you for a minute. And you would sit in my office and I would say, Miss Love, I think, you may have an issue. We need to get you some help. We would call, there's a number that you call, and they basically come out. Ms. Love cannot leave.
how you can make her leave? I mean, how can you make her stay?
She's gonna be terminated immediately.
Did
If you refuse to go through the fit for duty, then you basically waive your rights to due process.
Is that written somewhere?
Yeah, that's a state law.
Oh, it's the state law.
That's a
But
state law.
do the teachers and the staff know about this?
Is that in there?
That's
It's
in
in
the
there,
handbook.
the handbook.
It's in
That's in
the
the
handbook.
handbook. So the process is she would come in, we would essentially detain her. They would come out and do the physical, which essentially would be a drug test. They may ask you to do some physical stuff. And then I would have to look at the policy again to figure out if we immediately put you on leave, paid leave until the results come back, or do we just say you go back to your job and then we come back?
Is that only for just drugs or alcohol? I mean, is it just, what does it entail?
Well, the fit for duty would be alcohol and drug related. That would be drug related. Sorry to pick on you.
Oh, no problem. Never been high except contact high.
Okay.
No, I've never smoked a reef or anything.
That's good.
I didn't have to because I was around people that did it. Contact high. So I wasn't putting anything in my body. When I got tired of it, I left.
Anything else, Ms. Story?
Just on page 5, really, really quick.
Page 5?
Yeah, 5, it's in the green. Just explain that.
What? Let me see what policy this is. Types of school board meeting.
Yeah.
Evidence or
Which
testimony
number
presented
is
to the
that?
board.
Number 5, page 5.
Under the same
On
thing,
page 5.
same one.
No, it's a
Page 5 in a just go to page 5, Ms. Love, in the
right,
packet.
and
I
it's
didn't have
green.
none.
Oh. No,
I
go
need
back
to know
the
what
phone.
does it
Here it
say.
is. Evidence or testimony presented to the board regarding denial of admission to school events or property pursuant to the school code, provided that the board prepares and makes available for public inspection a written decision setting forth its determination reason. I have to figure out, I don't know the context of this. So, this seems like if you're banning a person from coming to a meeting
From a meeting or a school event.
or a school event, yeah, if you're denying them admission to a school event,
So that comes from the district level.
Right.
So if you had a parent that maybe irate or whatever, I speak to that, but yeah, they banned from any events and have to get permission from the district to attend if they still have children here.
And we've had to do that before.
Yeah.
The attorney will write a no trespass letter, and then if you have a reason to come, we have to give accommodations. So that's what that's talking about.
So I have a question, and I know it doesn't have anything to
Please
I'm
make it
gonna
make
be
sense,
real
cause look, we on this
quick.
tight schedule,
A question.
and we got one more item to discuss, calendar, please.
We can correct everyone else about their behavior. We can make policies about their behavior. What about us as a whole?
Okay, that's a different conversation,
I'm just curious.
that's not here.
Okay,
But
Madam
let's move
President.
on, so we've done that, so now, let's get to the calendar.
School calendar. Board members requested that we add the calendar back to add the calendar to the committee, the whole discussion. So are there any questions about the calendar?
Yes. There it is.
Okay.
So what no,
So let me just, I'll start here. I took the recommendations of the board back to the union. As I shared, the calendar is something that essentially is negotiated between the board and the union. So I took this back to the union, and their feedback essentially was that they wanted to keep the calendar as is. They were fine with if we had to change Lincoln Day for president. And one of the things I think I failed to say is Lincoln Day is the state holiday. So you have Lincoln Day, which is state, President's Day is federal. Lincoln Day is the day that the state gives you off, not President's Day. They take the state holiday. You can petition to have it changed, but Lincoln is the day off. That's why this district has always taken Lincoln Day and not President's. Every district does something different. Some districts have a holiday waiver, which means they don't have to take holidays at all, or they can pick and choose. I'll give you an example. Some districts do not take Veterans Day because they take Eid. Eid is a Muslim holiday. They have Jewish holidays and Muslim holidays. So their boards of education have petitioned the state for a waiver to say we want to take this holiday versus that one. So again, I put the recommendation back on the agenda as it was stated because that was the agreement between the board and the union. The district, I'm saying, has very little discretion on how the calendar looks because there's parameters that are outlined in a contract that are negotiated. When school starts, the last day of school this year, like I said, is going to be an issue in even years only because of election day. The state came out with a rule, I think 2 years ago, that said you have to take the federal election day off as a holiday. So every even year, because 24 is even, every even year when there's an election, you're going to be impacted by that one extra day on your calendar. And so the response is we can't move our calendar to get out before Memorial Day. And you can't move it because what that would say is now you've shorted your 176 attendance days and 4 contracted professional development days for staff. Now, you can extend it, you can add more days to the calendar, but then you would have to go back and negotiate with your staff because they are only contracted to work for 180 days. So again, Ms. Love, this calendar is not a personal preference. I wouldn't be here anyway. So it's not a personal preference, but this is a calendar that we had to go through the union process to do.
But in the CDC, it says that the board has the last, CBA, okay, CBA, always get my initials mixed up, has the last word on the calendar. And if there's modification on the calendar, then we just let the union know about it.
That's what you sent to us.
So the board approves the agreement between what administration and the union has done. If the board makes a change outside of what the agreement has been, then that opens you up to agreements.
It all depends on what it looks like when you finish with it. So, can I do my spiel on it? Or,
I'm sure. I don't have, I mean, unless you've changed some of the points you made before, I took all of those back to the union. And that was their response. The week of Thanksgiving, I'll read it to you.
Please do.
I hope this,
Then let's
this is
come
from the union president,
Okay,
Ms. Barker.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's
So-
what I'd like to
So
know.
now we have a
Right,
communication.
she's the president of the
She's the
union.
president.
Okay.
So it says, I hope this email finds you well. I want to express my gratitude for your dedication and hard work and supporting our school community. As the union president, I am writing to propose some adjustment to our school calendar. In order to align with the National Day Off, and that's the President's Day versus Lincoln, I suggest changing it from President's to Lincoln. This change will help reduce numerous absences among both teachers and students. Further, I would like to request that the entire week of Thanksgiving remains designated as time off. Over the years, our school has followed this schedule, and both students and staff have become accustomed to it. Maintaining this tradition will also prevent 2 days of low attendance, making it challenging to secure substitutes during an already understaffed period. Given these considerations, I believe that preserving the current schedule with the day off, with the day after Memorial Day, would be most beneficial. This adjustment will result in only 1 day of low attendance, facilitating a smoother transition back to school activities. Thank you again for your ongoing commitment to our school. I appreciate your time and consideration of these proposed changes. Warm regard, Ms. Barker, Union President.
Thank you so
can we
much.
get a copy of that?
So,
Yes.
Could you forward that to me?
so she's saying the day after Memorial Day, if in fact the day off, to have that the day off,
The last day
the
of
last
school.
day of school, they she's
That's
supposed
the-
to have it off.
No, that's the last day of school.
No, I thought that's
Let
what
me
they
see.
read.
Given these considerations, I believe that preserving the current schedule with the day off after Memorial Day would be most beneficial.
She said with
The
the
day,
day
the
off.
day
I
off.
mean, with the day off after Memorial Day would be beneficial.
Uh-huh.
So what I read that to mean is that we keep the 1 day after Memorial Day, and that would be the low attendance day.
And which one
It's
is it?
here. What here?
Yeah.
May 20.
How that is.
Wait a minute. May 27th.
So that will be the last day of school?
That would be the last day of school. So one of the things I said, this district is not used to getting out in May at all. This district has always gotten out like the second week of June.
Yes, it's true.
So that was the conversation. The teachers were excited to be getting off in May. Even with the, it's 1 day after the holiday, it still was 2.5 weeks earlier than it had been in the past.
They've always gotten out like the
In
second
June.
week in June. And the graduations is the first week, right?
It was, right, the
First
graduation
week in-
was the first week in
of
June.
June, and the banquets be like the last of May.
Right. So we were able, and here's the reality, school started at the exact same time. So school has always started that second week or so of August. But in the past, they've had all of these ancillary days off that drug the school year off into May. So we were able to, 2 years ago, to consolidate, and that was working with Dr. Reynolds actually before I started. We were able to consolidate the calendar so that the students and teachers would get out before June. So that's how we got to this place.
Okay. When I looked at the calendar, starting date was August 14th. Okay, I looked at the week of November, and I thought that if the teachers worked the 25th and 26th, and they were off the 27th, 28th, then that would be somewhat satisfactory. February schedule, I looked at the date for February 10th, which is the day after the Super Bowl that you mentioned, and February 17th, which is President's Day, not the 12th, but the 10th. And I looked at the high school calendar too. And what's that high school? Richards, they're taking off the 10th and they're taking off the 17th. And I looked at their calendar for Thanksgiving. They're taking off the 27th, 28th, and 29th, and they're working the 2 days. Then I looked at May. And May, Friday, May 23rd, is the last day for Richards High School also. So I thought we could finish up on the 23rd because we were using the 2 days in November. That the 17th take, the 17th, February 17th is 1 day replacing that day in February. And May 27th is the other day that's replacing the day in November.
So, and I understand exactly what you're saying. However, you have to understand that as much as we try to align calendars with the high school district, every district has totally different operations.
But they have to work the same number of days.
You have to understand the high school, and if I'm not mistaken, District 218 has extended hours. We don't.
Yes.
Meaning you can, let's say they do, so their professional development day, you have to take 4. They may have 5 total professional development days, but that's because they've added an hour to 8 Wednesdays or 10 Wednesdays.
Because they start at 9:30 on Wednesday.
So that's a different type of a schedule than us.
Okay.
Again, in high school, they take days off for assessment. We don't. So it's not going to be a parallel calendar.
I was only talking about the days off, not their whole entire calendar.
But you
because
have to
they
look,
get an extra week off also.
so
They get the
you
spring
have to
break, the
look
Christmas, and
Yes.
there's another week that
They
they
have a
have
break
down there.
after
They
Easter.
have 3 different weeks that they get off, which we
Yes.
don't.
So again, you have to look at the calendar in totality. You can't just look at 1 day here, 1 day there. You have to look at the scheme behind the entire calendar and what it means.
But it equals the same amount of time for the teachers and the student. It equals the same amount. Nothing has been taken away. It's just been transferred
that's
over.
actually not.
No,
the
nothing has been taken away.
Numerically, yes, the number equals it numerically. However, their operations is what's different.
We don't work on
So
the same.
we don't work on this. Our contract is not the same as theirs. So
But I'm talking about, okay, you're talking about the 12th, which is a Wednesday.
that's
I
the
can't-
state holiday.
Okay, but no one else takes that day,
Yes,
just
the
us.
districts do take that day.
Well, but they take the 10th, which is
The-
that Monday.
President's Day in 2025 is listed as the 12th.
That's,
I'm sorry, Lincoln Day is
but
the
the
12th.
President's Day is on the 17th,
Correct.
when that's a federal day and
However,
everybody is off.
No, ma'am, that's not the case.
Yes, it is the case.
Miss Love.
No,
Miss Love.
It is a
In the
federal
state-
holiday,
in the state
everybody
of
is off.
Illinois, in the state of Illinois,
Come on.
the state government,
Can
It's a federal
I don't
holiday.
mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
you're not required to take federal holiday. The state of Illinois tells you what are state holidays.
Federal
That's
isn't
your
over
requirement.
the state.
Please, Ms. Thorne.
Alexander, I just want to say,
No, Dr. Adams.
Doctor, okay, Dr. Alexander, I gave you that. For Monday, didn't the union president said they'll take the president holiday that Monday?
If
Opposed
they had to,
Lincoln?
yes, they would change that.
Okay,
Okay,
So
it's there.
they said they'll take that, and then we just need the clarity, because if you take, you have to take a day away. You know, you wanted to take the 27th, the last day, but we have to give them something else. So, like he said,
Take,
to
give.
right, that's how you have to do it.
Correct.
But at the same token, I understand what overall they said they'll do that. That's fine. They'll change it because anybody want a day after the weekend. But at the same token, I was saying my thing was the 25th, 26th. I do know, yes, the calendar, the high school for EID, day. For that part, those 2 days, if it is aligned, and yes, we always going with past practices. I understand that, but it is
that would be aligned with all the neighboring districts. Or they'll
What's
have the 25th and 26th that they are in school. Because how do we know it's a low attendance day if we never tried it because you're doing past practice?
Well, that's why we came up with that, because it has always been low attendance. And moving to that whole week, most districts have gone to that. A lot of districts have gone to that entire week.
In this neighboring district.
Well, I'll tell you this, what some districts do, which I don't agree with.
Teacher Institute
is Teacher
or
Institute.
report card
So
pickup.
the kids are out of school, but it's Teacher Institute. You still have to add another day to the calendar because it's not enough student days. So that model doesn't make sense to me at all. You give the kids the whole week off. So Monday would be report card pick, or Monday would be Teacher Institute day. Tuesday would be report card pickup, and then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday the whole district is closed. You still have teachers there, but you're still missing 2 days of instruction. So you have to add 2 days to the back end of your calendar. So it makes better sense. Everybody's out, and then you reallocate those 2 days within the calendar.
Say that again, because what I'm looking at is this. If they come to school on the Monday and Tuesday,
The students.
the students,
Mm-hmm.
okay, they will get the 17th off along with the 12th that you have put
So,
up there.
but
But
why
I,
are we giving both? That's not
Both
the practice to give the 12th and the 17th.
It's not.
it all depends on what district you're in, because 218 is doing it.
So
Right, that's not- it's not-
It all depends on what
And I
you
can
do.
make one thing.
That's
Yeah.
not
When
the
we talk
practice.
about aligning calendars, essentially what we're looking to align is the start time and end, and you look to make breaks coherent. And so everything in the middle, that's really not the focus. The focus is, can we start a day, a day or two within each other? Because if you look, 218 starts before us.
Mm-hmm.
Their institute time is before us.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I know that is only about 2 days before us.
2 days makes a world of a
Yes,
difference.
it does, but it's
So,
the
but
way
again,
it's set up. What I'm saying is this. You're giving us the 12th in the middle of the week, which is a Wednesday.
They changed
How
it in
come you
Miss
can't give
Love.
it to us
You gonna change it to the
Oh, no.
17th? Yes,
to
that's
the 17th?
Yes.
they'll take the
Okay,
17th.
they'll take
we'll
the
take the
17th.
17th.
So
And
they
that
are-
doesn't change the time. That's
Right.
basically you switching one day
Right.
for the other.
Okay, so that's still only one day. You still
Right.
need
You're
2
not.
days.
You're switching the
We
12th,
don't
which
need
is
that.
Wednesday. You'll get off on that Monday. So you're not adding. You're not taking Wednesday off and
right.
Monday. You
Why
just
not?
switch it.
Just that
Why-
one.
That's not the
Because
practice.
you can't get
The
the.
state is not going to give us credit for taking those
We
2
can't do
holidays
both.
off. It's not allowed.
I don't know what you're talking about, because I have
You have their calendar.
their calendar.
But again, Ms. Love.
But wait a minute,
they
I'm
may
saying
have
is, and the
waivers that
state
we don't-
did accept it. They do have those 2 days off,
I-
the 10th and the 17th. The state accepted it. If they had not accepted it, I wouldn't be sitting up here talking
So,
to you about
man,
it.
the 10th is not a holiday. The 10th is a day that they took a day of non-attendance because
Yeah,
of the
because
Super
of
Bowl.
after the Super Bowl,
Yeah,
they want their teachers to
I'm
get
telling
back.
you what I know because I helped to write. When we write calendars, all of the superintendents and their team, we sit at the table together. So
That is not what you all are not getting what I'm talking about. Because it's already lined up. If you do the 12th, if you want to, and the 17th, they're giving us the 17th, and we cancel out the 27th, then you have all your days of attendance.
And you cancel.
If
So
you do it in the first 2.
that doesn't work because now we have to find another day.
day.
So hold
Dr.
on.
Alexander.
Wait,
So
wait, 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 wait.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, my question is, when do we start dictating when the calendar is done? For November 25th through the 29th. People are going out of town. You got family members coming in for Thanksgiving. Just because some people don't have too much to do, other people do. So again, where does it say that we dictate how to that we put this calendar done? As a board member, where does it say that? Because I missed it. I want to know what page and where.
So let me ask you this. When I heard the,
Y'all go, you ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
so what did the president of the union say that, of students? Well, you mentioned something in the board meeting
About November.
about November.
So it's one of those, and very much what you said. It's one of those times where that Monday and Tuesday, and Ms. Love, we talked about this. A lot of people are trying to go out of town. They're trying to travel. What I found out, a lot of people go on cruises the week of Thanksgiving.
Yeah. That's
And
it.
so you have 300 kids sitting in the lunchroom watching a movie
that was
because we don't have staff.
So-
I definitely experienced that.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Yeah.
Where the actual
Right.
network had to go in schools
Yeah.
because there was not enough
Like
Yeah.
teachers
So
on
how are we
staff
discussing
during
that?
that time. So I don't, know what
Come
the
on,
issue is
y'all.
with that. But those 2 days aren't, are not gonna make, a difference
It's
in
not
terms
gonna-
of
yeah.
test scores and nothing else, so.
But Dr. Alexander,
Mhm.
just one thing. If in fact,
Did you finish?
oh, I'm sorry. If in fact the day after is that they say is a low attendance day, but I'm hearing what the president said to be off. So if in fact the day after Memorial Day, just let them know if they come in on the 25th, you take that day and then they can get out on the 23rd. Because if it's gonna be a low attendance day,
So I hear you.
and then they don't have to come back the day after that holiday. They just out. So it would not affect anything
So when
So-
you said it,
if they
you said
gonna
something
say if
about
it's
the
low
If they
23rd.
come
Say
back
that.
the Monday of Thanksgiving.
right.
So here's my personal response to that. If you make me come back Monday, I might as well come back Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Absolutely.
Coming back that
Not
one day,
necessarily.
doesn't solve the problem. Because you think about it, I could go out of town on Friday and be gone. I'm gonna show you all this. I saw it on social media, and it said this is how you get a 10-day vacation. Did you see that? It said it takes the whole calendar and says this is how you get a 10-day vacation. So if you're off that entire week, you get a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday again. That's a 9-day vacation. So I hear what you're saying, the swap. I just don't think it's gonna solve the problem.
Okay, but can I ask you this?
Okay.
Everybody on the board, if you were a teacher and you had an option, I'm saying the teacher, not just union. If you had an option not to come to school the day after Memorial Day,
There's a lot of Monday holidays.
What would you
swear.
To work.
On the Tuesday.
Yeah.
what would you choose?
But why are we doing this? That's
I'm
not
just saying,
I
would prefer to come back the
wait.
day after.
Go ahead,
You make a valid point, Ms. Story.
That's all.
But
That's
I
all.
think the reality is
That's all.
nobody's considering that point because we could get off June 32nd.
That's true too. For
So
Mercy
the
Day.
fact that
That's
we're
it.
able to get off still in May.
Wait, do you
And
have
to
to
even
even
know the
wait till
school
June
is gonna
to
be
get
out.
out?
No, that's
But
emergency day.
I'm just making, I'm being facetious.
Anyway.
But
There's not
the
because
district
parents
is used
already
to
said
getting out
they're
at the end of the second week of June.
Wait,
So the fact-
excuse me, I didn't hear what he's saying.
No, I was being facetious when I said June 32nd, but the point I'm making is they're used to getting out the end of the second week. So if they can get out in May, that means you have all of June off, you have all of July off, and then, a couple of weeks of August. So it just
If
makes
any-
your break longer.
And if anything, that right there will make them happy. That will make a person want to come to work and refresh and come back on a good note and whatever.
Again, why are we messing with these people calendar?
But we do have, I'm sorry, Ms. Brown, we do have a plan. So
You-
days like that, that's when you have field day, the zoo come, the rides, just because everybody's antsy, it's the last day. For staff, this is records day. You cannot get out of here until you turn your records in, and I'm only accepting them on that day. So it's a practice that we're used to, and we know how to make it work.
Go ahead, Ms.
And so to perhaps to answer this question, besides the function of this being the function of the board, I have continued, for some reason this year, heard a lot more whining about how often the school seems to be closed. And so I'm just trying to pay attention to constituencies who are saying, why y'all having all these days where either you're sending kids home or there's been no school. And so that's why we might pay attention. I vote no, and I will continue to vote no on the calendar because I still don't think, to your point, there's enough days of instruction. And you talked about the fact that the scores, one of the factors contributing to low scores is the shortness of the time at which people get instruction.
So that's not our control.
I understand that, and I just, as a no vote, is perhaps to the state. I mean, this other stuff I think is, I'm reacting to hearing constituents bitterly complain this year about them kids been out of school too much.
Do they have license? Do they have license?
So,
Because
can I
if they have
respond to
license,
this, Brian?
because if they have
I'm sorry.
license, the teacher, they can come right on in.
Go ahead, Ms. Story.
Miss Brown, if you look, it is dates, like if you look at the holidays, that's what teachers have to take.
Yes.
They have to, so all in the black, those are those, holidays that's coming from state. So,
I'm not disputing anything.
okay, so
I'm
you
not- and
said
I'm
as
not
far
trying to disturb
as,
anything, I'm
what
just
you
saying.
said as far as students in school?
No, she said that the whoever, constituents were complaining that our students spend more time out of school than in school.
Wow.
That's true. That's- we all say that.
I have one to go there.
We always say that.
It all
So,
balance out.
My response to Ms.
We all
Brown,
say
and I'm
that.
saying this because I don't want you to vote no in theory to our calendar. Our district has very little say so. The state law,
I was
this
talking
page,
about it. Y'all talking
when we go in to put in the calendar, the state already has holidays blacked out. And so then you have to comply with your union agreement, which it's actually gotten worse because since the contract was ratified, there's a new date, which doesn't impact students, which is Juneteenth. So
Yeah, that's
these are
another
all
day.
holidays that we have to follow. I'm looking at the calendar, and to my knowledge, we are on a bare bones schedule. We don't take any extra days outside. Well, I take that back. The only 2 extra days that we took off are the Monday and Tuesday of Thanksgiving. Everything else is statutory. So I don't want you to feel like we're just, diminishing the impact, but
You have to really clear, I voted consistently.
Okay.
Okay, so we done.
Understood.
No, can I ask one other
Okay,
question?
excuse me, Miss Love. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just talking about teacher burnout.
Of course.
And that's another,
Yeah.
they need to have a couple days
I agree.
Absolutely.
a month to try to regroup.
You worried about their wealth and health? Come on.
So you
That's
taking
what I
that back?
wanted to-
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. That's what I wanted, question. The early release days,
mhm.
do they have to be on a Wednesday?
That's the date that was selected.
Could they select a Friday?
And my response as superintendent is no.
Why?
Early release is not to get off of work early. Early
I didn't
release is,
say get off work early, but just the idea to wind down, just like she said, about the
that's
teacher's
not what early
ability
release
and
is
stuff.
I don't want you to ride down for early
No.
release.
Just
Early
want them
release.
to wind down,
Why
just kind
Friday?
of relax and go to the meeting and stuff. and-
Early release is about
Come on,
intensive
man.
professional development.
Okay, explain something to me about
Okay.
professional development. The students get out at 1:00.
Mhm.
The teachers have a half hour for lunch or whatever.
Teachers
break
get their
is.
lunch during the school day.
But I just saw something in a meeting that, that was typed up that said that the meeting would start at 1:30. So they got that half an hour. I just saw.
That's not for lunch, that's for transition.
What transition, whatever.
Mhm.
What time do they finish? At
3
2,
o'clock.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Okay,
So it's an
they
hour and a half of
Hour
PD.
and a half?
Yes.
Is
So-
that all they need?
Absolutely not. That's all we can get. So that's something that has to be negotiated with the union. We actually get 30 on those school improvement days. We actually get 30 extra minutes out of the teacher. Teachers get off at 2:30, but on professional development days, they get an extra 30 minutes.
Right.
Well, what happened to the 11:00, 11:30 time that the students used to get
So
out?
that's called a half day.
Right.
That no
Okay.
longer exists in the state.
No.
The state law says you have to be in school for 5 hours
Yeah.
in order for it to count as a day of instruction.
That's true.
So that half day concept, it does, so especially if our school day was 8 hours, that could work, a half day could
You
work.
mentioned that.
However, we have the shortest school day in the state of
Yes,
Illinois.
we do.
So when we opened up the contract, that is the first thing I'm looking to change.
Yeah.
But as for right now, we have an hour and a half professional development once a month.
Yeah. That's
Um,
not enough.
and it's not to relax or wind down. I need intensive PD because that's really the only time
I'm
I
not
get.
talking about them just, I'm through. I'm talking about them being relaxed to just go into their meetings and do what they need to do and leave, and then they got the weekend
Just
to,
that.
well, you say,
Relax at home.
Thank you.
So, so question,
Yes.
are you going back and just change the 12th to the 17th? That's
Yes.
that,
Yes.
so they can have that money.
Yes. And
Okay.
the calendar will be submitted.
And then the calendar will be resubmitted with that particular day.
Yes.
And then
that's
they
it.
get out
The
the
27th.
27th
Yeah.
of May. And then they still have, I'm in disagreement with those 2 dates, but hey, okay,
You can get something out of it.
okay.
Okay, so, number 5, public comment. If you intend to speak, please, in the comment. Huh?
Y'all didn't know
Oh,
comments.
thank you so much. Number 6, adjournment. Motion to adjourn. Motion by Ms. Dixon, second. Second by Ms. Story.
Brown, Dixon, Golar, absent, Kimbrough, Love,
Yes.
Story,
Yep.
Harris.
Thank you, yes.
Motion carried at 6:42
Thank
p.m.
you so much.